Thursday night football. We have more games here this weekend, Sam. Seahawks at the Bears, the 8-7 Seattle Seahawks taking on the 4-11 Chicago Bears. Seahawks favored by 4.5 here. By the way, we mentioned the other day, just about a third of our YouTube viewers here are subscribers. We put a little subscribe button up there for you guys to help out. And a lot of people joined the fun here at Check the Mic. So we appreciate anybody. Hit the subscribe button. It's right there on the channel. And join us here at Check the Mic going forward. Appreciate everybody that's helped us grow over these last couple of years. So Seahawks and the Bears tonight. What are you looking for in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the Seahawks they look pretty good against the Minnesota Vikings team. I think the Vikings were able to eventually overcome that Seahawks team, and particularly late in the game, we saw magic with Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson. But for them to be able to go toe-to-toe with a team like the Vikings, who are still chasing that 1 seed, I think was impressive. With the Seahawks, it's kind of the same story all the way through the season, or at least at the start of the season. It's a really good team, top to bottom, with the only potential weakness being the interior of that offensive line. If Chicago is able to expose that or attack that, maybe it's a game. Outside of that, it feels like the Seahawks are better kind of across the board.
Yeah, the weaknesses of Seattle's offensive line have been exploited a ton, and Chicago hasn't done a good job exploiting anybody defensively in recent weeks. Some of their injuries maybe have caught up as well, but their defense was very promising early in the year. We've also mentioned, hey, is that coinciding with Matt Eberflus, defensive-minded head coach, being fired? There's elements to that as well, but struggling defense against an offense that every week I highlight has the firepower with DK Metcalf, with the way Jaxon Smith-Njigba has really become one of the most dependable receivers in the league this year. It's been fun to watch him develop here. So I like Seattle a lot in this game, even in Chicago. And, I sent you the snippet of Caleb Williams and his weekly grades this year.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's, as analysts, it's interesting to create narratives off of the flow of the season. And other times as an analyst, it's like it doesn't really mean anything, right? So I don't know what to make of Caleb Williams. If you look at PFF grades, if you look at EPA, if you look at any production metric, it is blocks of 3 bad, 3 good, 2 good, 2 bad, 2 good. And it's always bad, good, bad, good. And he had a very good game, playing from behind the other day against Detroit, but still had to make these big time throws against the Detroit defense that wasn't just sitting back and letting him do it. And he performed well. Are we going to finish strong here in Caleb Williams' season? And you go into the offseason saying, hey, he finished strong as a rookie. Let's build on that in year 2. Just to remind people, Sam Darnold did that as a rookie, right? And we created a whole narrative off that. Well, his last 4 games, he was outstanding, and it didn't matter going into his sophomore year. So I don't know what to make of Caleb Williams' complete roller coaster season that seems to come in 2 and 3 game chunks.
Yeah, it does feel entirely random. You're kind of it's frustrating because I think, human beings generally and football analysts, we're always looking for a pattern, right? Something predictable, something you can use to project forward. And sometimes these things are just random. Like there's no rhyme or reason to when a guy's going to play well or play badly. You sent me that kind of grade by grade chart. I was like, that looks like just a worse version of Kyler Murray, where there's no particular logic as to when you're going to get unstoppable Kyler and when you're going to get a not particularly good Kyler performance. And actually, we made that comp at some point during the season. Caleb Williams plays kind of like Kyler Murray, right? And that's what it is right now. He's capable of spectacular performances. He's capable of spectacular plays, but there's no consistency to it. There's no consistency generally to the offense. The offensive line is a bit banged up. I'm sure that's a contributing factor. Obviously, there's been a ton of change throughout the season. That's probably a factor as well. But the offense, I think, is too inconsistent to, go up against really good teams. And then the defense is banged up. They've lost personnel throughout the season. It's not quite the group that it was earlier in the year, and they've fired coaches that are presumably have an impact on that defense. So I think generally, the Bears are kind of looking to get out of this season at this point. It just without damage, it's done.
Yeah.
Let's move on to next year. Let's build. But this was a mess.
Yeah, kind of was. But I'm always interested in watching Caleb Williams play. When he's played well, it's, you've said, hey, this is why he's number 1 overall. When he's played poorly, it feels like everything is bad. The offense, the system, his accuracy, being all over the place. So coming off a good game, we'll see if he can stack these last couple heading into the offseason here. Anything else as far as this game goes? Where's Seattle as far as the play? So Seattle's in the wild card race, technically still in the NFC West race. Where are they as far as I lost my Seattle playoff scenarios here, Sam?
Oh yeah,
where are we?
It's a real blow.
Good job. Good job by me.
According to NFL,
19% chance to make the playoffs for the Seahawks, so they need some help. Obviously, game behind the Rams, not having the tiebreaker, and trying to sneak in as a wild card potentially here.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that doesn't have a huge hope, but is still technically fighting.
And by the way, just to put a bow on the Caleb Williams discussion, I also don't know what to make of him stylistically. The whole interception streak, but he's sack rate, and then you have some great plays outside of structure, but it doesn't feel like I thought it would. And then inside of structure, his accuracy, like when he's been off, like he's just missed throws by a mile. Like a lot of what's happened isn't exactly maybe what I expected with Caleb Williams coming into the NFL.
He's like legitimately within sight of the all-time record for the interceptionless streak, right? Like not this game, but I think he could do it this season, theoretically. Like he hasn't thrown an interception since week 6, and he's only thrown one since week 3. I mean, this is absurd. He hasn't been playing like lights out over that period. Like there have been some bad passes in there. It's just that's a bizarre like the other Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, I forget which one is at the top of that all-time streak, and then the other one is second, and then it's Caleb Williams.
Makes perfect sense. Anyway, Seattle by 4.5 tonight in Chicago. Where are you going with this one?
Where am I going with this one? I haven't thrown on my info in the document. I think it's all in the sleep wrap. I think.
Who'd you pick for Christmas, by the way? I had the Chiefs and Ravens covering. How about you?
I went 500 in the Christmas games. I went with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. So only got one.
Oh, look at you being honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the app, so it's there. It's public information. It's not like I can hide it. I believe for this game, I have gone with the Seahawks to cover.
All right, I'll take Chicago, and Harry, who I'm chasing by like 10 here, he's going to take Seattle to cover the 4.5.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.